Hello everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp and to the second part of this video. If you missed the first part, the link will be in the description.
Yep, so in these videos, there'll be another one to come too. We are looking at some of the best open world games available on the Nintendo Switch.
There are some great examples, so we're going to dive straight into the list. What are the best ones? Well, let's find out.
It is a pleasure to be sponsored for this episode by Contra, Operation Galuga from Konami, and it's a thorough reimagining of the classic run and gun from back in the 80s. And it has that timeless gameplay and those iconic weapons, but we're looking at modern graphics, sound, additional stages, new enemies and bosses, and a few new gameplay mechanics. There are 8 stages to work your way through. You've got loads of different weapons like spread shot, laser, homing missiles, and they've added the new mechanic of having stackable upgrades. Then you've got the overload system with weapon-specific powers, including a barrier, a missile barrage, and the very cool flame shield. And of course, epic boss battles where you're facing off against those huge screen-filling bosses, desperately struggling to survive. On top of that, you've got co-op mode for up to 2 players, and you can do that in story mode or 4 players in arcade. You'll be taking control of Bill Reiser and Lance Bean as they battle against the Red Falcon terrorist group. This one is releasing both physically and digitally with all the different platforms that you can see on screen. Go check it out, all the links will be down in the description or the top pinned comment. If you want to support SwitchUp, click the links down below. Go check out the game and yeah, let us know what you think.
First up then we have Red Faction Guerrilla, which is an open world action adventure set on Mars.
That's right, yeah. This is one of the games where you can just destroy anything, can't you? You can just put holes through walls and resurface as you see fit as you go across the towns and whatnot.
Yeah, it really is unusual how that hasn't been recreated because it's so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, was it Half-Life? Maybe Half-Life 2, where you could do things like that, and I'm sure there's been other games since, but this was one of the first games I really remember where you could just go mad and just destroy everything,
Absolutely. So you're basically a freedom fighter, and within this world, you, as it says, guerrilla.
Yeah.
You're joined by other people. So if you start an action, sometimes a big fight will break out and you'll have both sides fighting each other. Really good game. And I don't think a lot of people finished it or went far enough in it to see its potential.
Yeah.
Because it starts out with some kind of pretty generic missions, but they're only in there to basically show you that you can destroy everything.
Yeah.
It'll be like take a bridge out and the whole thing will collapse down onto the road. The world's obviously a bit sparse. It's Mars.
Yeah.
There's no like supermarkets and stuff. But there are like industrial areas and stuff, again, that you can blow up. Like it's a good game. I really like this.
Yeah, and it had a good tagline, didn't it? It was the remastered edition.
Oh yeah, even my daughter went, "Yeah, that's not funny, Dad." I was like, "All right, mate."
I thought it was all right.
Yeah, so did I.
Next we have Nier Automata.
Yes, Nier Automata. This is another one that you have to add on your playlist because this has physical, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
This is an amazing game. Very unusual because you'll complete your first playthrough very quickly, and then it starts again. Oh, okay, and it's different,
right?
And it shifts multiple times before you reach what is considered the canon ending, the real ending.
Okay, yeah.
And not shifting in a boring way. It's not making you do exactly the same things each time. Won't spoil it. There's like giant mechs in the worlds as well, which look incredible. This is semi-open world in the sense that you've got interconnected areas, but the world is a bit sparse because it's a post-apocalyptic Earth.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's got real-time action combat in it. As I say, you have a mixture of those like almost those anime moments where you're fighting these giant, I don't even know what you call them, giant mechs, I guess. And you're like flying around doing. What would you say? Combat?
Doing combat.
Doing combat, doesn't sound right. There are some very brutal boss fights in here. It's just a lovely world with a really eerie soundtrack. That's the only way I can say it. You'll have to listen to it yourself. But it has a very unusual soundtrack that I loved.
And it also does, just pure aesthetically, nothing else. But I love that overgrown dystopia. Any game that does that immediately captures my attention.
Yeah, when the greenery fights back.
Yeah.
It's
that's a good way of putting it. I like that, yeah.
Next up, we've got Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. This is very much an old school open world RPG. So if you think of something like Baldur's Gate and then mashed it with a more modern RPG, you'd end up with this. It does show its age in almost every way.
Okay.
So down to the dialogue, the combat, and I don't say that as a negative. I just mean when you pick it up, you're going to be like, oh, I would expect it to do this in the control scheme. Or, well, no, because this is an older game that's been brought across, you know. Even with that said, it's still very fast paced. You know, you can choose your class, you can do nice fast action attacks using magic or ranged weapons. It's great. It's a great game. There were quite a few performance issues when it came out. It's had a few patches. It's never going to be perfect. But again, if you played these games back in the day, trust me, they weren't perfect. Any particle effect just made them chug. But yeah, I love these. I love the stupid quests, you know. Oh, like you find a guy being attacked by wolves and stuff. All the classics. Can you go fetch my bread? Why? Get your own bread.
Get yourself, you lazy so-and-so.
Exactly. Get out of bed.
I do like, though, the first 3 games, you've basically got Mission to Mars, you've got Dystopian Future, and you've got like medieval. You know what I mean? It's nice, isn't it? Nice mix there.
This whole list is going to make Nintendo go, oh, we don't need a new console. Because you look at the games on this list, there are some crackers.
There are some good games, yeah. Right, next we have the Xenoblade games. So obviously all 3 are on the Switch now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
And again, these do that beautiful green world, but with a hint of sadness about what's happened, you know. And I forget exactly, so apologies for any misinformation, but you're basically like, you live on the back of a huge titan or something like that, don't you? I seem to remember. I've played the first one through to completion. I've played a little bit of the second. I haven't played the third, but the world they build is lovely.
It really is, yeah. So those titans are like battling, aren't they, for eternity? And then on their backs, you've got these civilizations living.
That's it.
And then they're obviously rivals as well. It's I've actually played a lot of the first one quite recently. In some ways, I felt like with the second game, they almost went a bit too far with the battle system, to the point where when I'd played a few hours of that and then gone away, come back, I completely forgot it because there was a lot of nuance.
Yeah, the battling is a little convoluted, I feel. I think it throws a lot at you, and it's quite a lot to digest. But it's worth persevering with. It's the one that I've played the most is amazing, and I'm sure the other 2 are just as good. And I love things like you walk across or walk past this huge behemoth, you know, and you're looking, you think, can I fight that? And then above it will say level 65, and you're like level 3, but it's there, and you can walk past it, and it will attack you. You know, you can fight it if you want. I just love things like that in games.
Yeah, that's what makes it feel like a living world that you're taking part in, you know, rather than on rails.
Exactly.
A very famous open world open worlds come in the form of the GTA trilogy. Now the first one, obviously, you do have a city, but it's not that big. What was the first city? Was that Vice? It wasn't Vice City, was it? The first city was
Grand Theft Auto 3 was the first open world.
Yeah, what was the city called?
Oh, I forget. Sorry, it's been. I think I've last played it on the PlayStation 7. It's been a long time.
Wow, I've forgotten. But anyway, yeah, each of them is an open world, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
They just get larger and larger. Now the Switch versions weren't great when they launched. I think they did that weird thing where they're like, we need to stick it in a new engine, and then they stick it in a new engine, and it runs like absolute pony. Why didn't you just release the old one?
Yeah.
You know, save yourself a bit of money, save us all a headache. Just release the old games.
It feels like sometimes, you know, they're cooking something, and I don't mean in the new age sense of cooking. I just mean like literally. And they've got the oven and the microwave to choose from. They bang it in the microwave this time, forget about it, burn it, and then serve it up anyway. Sometimes just use the oven, mate.
Just use it. There's your analogy.
Classic cooking. Use the oven or the air fryer these days, I suppose.
Now, with that said, they did do a lot of patchwork. I'd say it's in a playable state now. If I was going to find it super cheap, I'd be happy. Yeah.
What I'd liked for them to have done in this, I don't know if it was possible or if it's asking too much, I would have loved to have seen the first 2 games included as bonuses, those top-down ones.
Yeah.
That'd have been nice, you know. I wasn't expecting 4 or anything like that, but those first 2, that'd have been good.
Give me Chinatown Wars.
Chinatown Wars is a great game.
Brilliant
Actually,
game.
yeah. If you haven't played that one and you can find it for a decent price, is it DS?
DS,
It was a DS, wasn't it? Very good game.
Yeah. It had a really cool opening where you had to break the glass of the car to get out with your finger.
Right. That's right.
Very cool. All right, next we've got Crosscode. Again, we like genre hopping here. We're jumping all over the place. Crosscode is like a fast-paced RPG set within basically like a Ready Player One imaginary universe that people go into to play the game.
Right.
So everyone you interact with is also in their VR headsets, I guess, or in this, in this alter universe. But I thought it was run of the mill for the first few hours, and then it hits you with like a disgraceful story, like a mic drop story moment.
Oh, right.
That makes you really sit up and go, all right, this is more like it. You've dropped all the generic BS.
Gumph,
Gumph. Sorry, that's a better way of saying it. and you've given me something that I can sink my teeth into.
Yeah.
Really excellent game. Kind of open world you can literally go anywhere. Go backwards and forwards between the start town and everywhere else. And I guess you could say that for a lot of these style of games, but here it is very free.
Yes.
From the get-go. Cracking game. You should definitely check out our full review of this one, because this often goes on sale, and I think a lot of people don't really know about it.
Nice, nice. Okay, then we've got Hollow Knight, which again, to a complete layman, might not scream open world.
Yeah, this is like the definition of open world in
Right.
that you can literally go anywhere from
Yeah.
the start.
Okay.
Now it does have the Metroidvania side, and then there's certain skills that you need to unlock before you can get everywhere.
Yep.
But you do have complete freedom, and more so than almost any other Metroidvania, you could, if you were good enough, go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what I meant, because obviously, generally in Metroidvanias, you're shepherded
Yes.
the right way, aren't you? This area will now unlock, and then you can do this, or this skill will now let you climb up a platform you couldn't reach before.
Yeah.
This is a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, this is much more free flowing with much fewer limitations that are skill based.
Yes.
In terms of acquiring
A skill, yeah. We then have Ni no Kuni 2, so both games are available on Switch. Are we saying that the second is more open world than the first?
Yeah, so the second game, not only does it have that open world where, it switches to that 3D view, it has more of a grander scope in that you literally start to build up your own town. You put shops into it and different, places that you can buy gear from.
Yep.
You craft, it has almost this strategy side to it. So you have this open world that has your own town within it.
Okay.
Which is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you do have areas that you go into. Again, that's free-flowing because you can go backwards and forwards. It's very open world, actually. The more you speak about it, you're like, actually, yeah, it is really open world. Combat is quite fast-paced. Doesn't have that, lethargic... Not that I don't like the slow, classic turn-based combat, but I do like things to be faster these days.
Yeah, fair enough.
So this has that side. But just, the fact that it has the open world along with the town building, I thought was quite cool. A bit like ActRaiser.
ActRaiser.
A bit like ActRaiser.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's not open world at all, but
No.
in terms of the town building,
town
for
building.
sure, absolutely. Another one now that people might not expect to see, this is Pheonotopia Awakening.
Yeah, do you remember this?
I do. Lovely art style, pixel-based, isn't it? Sometimes the words open world and pixel-based don't go together in people's minds. I would say the same of myself, probably.
Yeah, completely. But it is like open world in the sense of you can literally go everywhere, wherever you want.
Yeah.
I remember there's a tough bit at the start of this game where you're trying to get across this bridge, and that was brutal. Like that was really difficult. And that's another thing. You might look at this and think, oh, that looks cutesy. It does, but it will kill you. Kill you a lot.
Yeah. This one, I remember when it released. I mean, it was a couple of years ago now, wasn't it? 2 or 3 years ago. But I remember the reception for it was massively favourable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
People really did love this game.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and it's like 50 hours long.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, really good game.
Nice, value for money. Next one then, talking of very, very long games, is Dragon Quest XI's.
Yeah, I thought I'd stick one of the big RPGs. Obviously, you've got things like the Legend of Mana games, which is also you could potentially say is a bit open world. I don't know. What do you reckon?
No, not open world.
Yeah.
There's a big world there. It's not necessarily open, if that makes sense.
So this one with Dragon Quest, if you've played it, it gets more and more open the longer you go on.
Yeah.
It does that thing where you then end up with like a way of getting around quickly. But there's so many places to go. Like there's so many. This is a long old game. I've got to be honest. I haven't rolled credits on this one yet.
Right. Yeah.
I think we're about 80 hours in. There are a few characters that I like to kind of poke fun at that I get told off for doing so. Silvano, whatever his name is.
Right.
Like, oh my goodness. I get it. You got to have that kind of like slapstick character, but
Yeah.
he's a bit screechy.
Oh, okay. I haven't played 11. The last one I played was it 9 on the DS?
Okay.
I believe I might be wrong in the numbering, but it was certainly the DS one.
Yeah.
Not one of the remakes. And that was a great game. Really enjoyed that. I had a lot more time back then, I must say,
Yeah.
to play such games. But I do have 11. It's in the collection, and I will most certainly play it,
There you go. We need a few extra 100 years in our lives, don't we, to clear these backlogs.
Exactly. Right, the penultimate game for this list then, we have Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Yeah, I didn't realise how open world this was till I saw my daughter playing it last week, and she was just flying over the whole map on like one of the monsters she'd captured. Brilliant. It looks amazing. She had a great time, and I know you reviewed this one.
I did. For talking of funny characters, it has a cat in it.
It does have a cat. She loved the cat, but you didn't.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I couldn't stand him. But the game is great.
Yeah.
Very, very good game. A very clever way to expand the Monster Hunter world. It's obviously there was a first game anyway, but just in terms of this sub-series, I was never would have expected it.
No.
You know, and it works very well, that monster catching part of it. you know.
Yeah, and there's a load of optional monsters as well. You know, I think she was fighting like a raging Rajang or something that she'd found in a cave, and if she killed it, she got its egg. Took her ages, and then she obviously came up, Daddy, I've got the Rajang. And the Rajang is a beast. Like, if you know your monster
vicious.
hunter.
Yeah, he's nasty. And then finally, then talking of Dragon Quest, as we were a moment ago, you have the Dragon Quest Builder games. I believe there are 2 on the Switch now.
Yeah, so these, if you've played Minecraft, then you get a kind of idea of this. It is like you've mashed Minecraft and traditional Dragon Quest into one.
Yeah.
What I think, why these work so well for me is that while I like Minecraft and I understand the relaxing nature of just doing whatever, having some focus I find beneficial, you know, and a goal.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And this does have still the RPG story in there, you know, and it's clever how they have these towns within the world that actually you can modify.
Yes.
So yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter played the first one a fair bit a while ago now, and I kind of watched over her shoulder, and yeah, she enjoyed it a lot actually. Haven't played the second one, I must say. But yeah, I do agree with you. As much as that complete freeform way of playing is fun, there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of structure or some guidance or some objectives sometimes too.
Absolutely. So that is the last one on part 2 of this list. As we said at the start, check out part 1, links in the description, and keep your eye out for part 3.
Don't forget, if you are looking to pick any of these games up, you can get your eShop cards at our website, switchup.gg. Doing so will get you 5% back in cash back off your purchase price. There's also a link down there to Play Asia. If you wanted to import any games, use the link, use the code stated, and you get yourself 5% off your order from there.
Lovely stuff. Thank you to our Patreons and our members. And as always, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!